better let him sing again. I know Clay would be so happy to see so many people here from Cotabato. This is Oscar's fault. He invited me to be the celebrant. I was a celebrant at the Mass on his birthday last Sunday in the hospital. Instead of a homily, I said, Clean, I'm going to sing you a song. And he groaned. He says, couldn't speak, but I could tell. He says, oh no, don't sing. And I sang him this song. He must be complaining now. Why are they doing this? He's got wax again, being celebrated at the Mass. I don't want to draw attention to myself, but this has been a couple hard years for me. The last couple of years I've lost 9 uncles and aunts, lost my mother, 4 ugly brothers. So I've been thinking a lot about death. And I'm getting older too. I'll be 69 next month. And a couple months ago I read an article by a professor of philosophy from one of the universities in California. She grew up in a Jewish family, a Jewish atheist family. Parents were Jewish background, but they were non-believers, atheists. She herself was an atheist, intellectual atheist, pure materialist. She believed that her life, all life, was just a random cosmic flip of a coin, and you happen to get life instead of somebody else, and at the end of your life you end up feeding the worms, and that's all there is to it. Rather morbid, depressing. But this particular professor, female professor, Weixelaman, to the grace of God, she became a Christian, she became a Catholic. And she said, what joy I have in my life. She said, there's meaning. Before there was no meaning, and now there's meaning in my life. She said, when I celebrated my 40th birthday with my friends, I celebrated, I'm halfway home to eternity. They thought she was making some kind of a philosophical joke or something. She said, I mean it. I'm halfway home. Then when she celebrated her 50th birthday, she said, now I'm 2/3 of the way home. And she said, I'm looking forward to the day when I can say, I'm just a couple hours away from home. She said one of the things that surprised her when she became a Catholic, she says, I don't hear many Catholics, Christians, talk about death, talk about eternity, as if they're afraid. She said they don't want to grow old. They dye their hair. They have facial lips and stuff like this. They dress up like young kids, the old people. They don't want to be old anymore. It seems like it keeps death away. She says, not me. She says, I'm looking for, that's where life begins. This is just temporary. We are created for eternity. We're 9 months in the womb, we're 80 months here, but we're created for eternity. A year or so ago, I met an 80-year-old, real contemplative, 80 years old, joyful man, still nimble. I think he could stand on his head if you wanted to, if you asked him to. No, he seems to have no pain. He's not depressed or anything, but he says, I want to die. He said, when I wake up in the morning, he says, Lord, is this the day I'm going to go home? And then he said, my prayer at night is, I hope I wake up in paradise in the morning. His vision of eternity with God is so bright and joyful. And he says, there's nothing in this life that can compare with it. I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to visit Fr.Cletus in the hospital. We were busy at the retreat center with lots of retreats. Every chance I had, I would get over there. But it was hard to talk with Fr.Cletus in the hospital. He was all wired up and nurses in and out. And I really would have liked to spend more time just one-on-one with him. But 2 weeks ago, I said, Cletus, you've been at the bedside of so many. You were with Father Bishop Monjo for months there, visiting him every night in the hospital. Bishop Smith, Father Begman, Father Quinn, many laymen. And he says, now you're on the other side, Cletus. You're here in the bed. How do you feel? And he said, well, I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was going to come so quickly. Then on Sunday, on his birthday, I had a few seconds with him alone. And I said, are you ready? And he said, yes, I'm ready. Father Cletus was born 74 years and 2 days ago on a little farm not too far from Conway Springs, Kansas, state where I grew up also. They didn't own the farm. He was the youngest of 10. They were like tenant farmers. They had to pay rent. I met his parents when they were already old. In fact, when Cletus was born, they were already kind of old. He was the last of 10 children. But when I met them, beautiful people, his mother and father. And Cletus says, yes, my father was a wonderful man, but he wasn't a very good farmer. And they had to leave there. They lost the farm. He couldn't support his family. He was such a poor farmer. He went to this little town of Conway Springs and had enough money. They opened a little laundromat. And I cannot understand how you could support a family of 10 in a little laundromat in Conway Springs. It's a town of farmers. Their wives do all the laundry. You can't imagine too many people going to the laundromat. Cletus said that he learned to ride a horse before he learned to ride a bicycle. He said, I never learned to ride a bicycle because we never owned a bicycle. And he said, frequently I would go to school riding a horse. We couldn't afford a saddle, so he rode bareback. When he was in the 8th grade, he told his daddy, he said, Daddy, I'd like to be a priest. Cletus said he never was a very good student. He said he opened a few books, but he didn't finish too many of them. His father and mother found a seminary, I think it's in Illinois, one of the big ones, and he went there. That was a long way for a little Kansas boy from Conway Springs. He flunked out his first year. They sent him home. Don't come back. It's like the